Hello, my amazing Math A students. This is Mrs. Stengel. I'm so sorry I can't be with you today. I am watching my kiddos because they have a minimum day today, so I am at home with them. But I'm going to be teaching you your lesson today via recorded video. So thank you so much for following along. These are your class slides for today. So today is day 14, Math A students. We're covering lesson 1.3a in the recorded video, and then you're going to work on homework 1.3a. You can use the key that's provided on Google Classroom to help you. So please make sure that you are submitting the attendance question for today in Google Classroom. So in your Google Classroom, period 3 or period 5, click on the attendance question for September 15th and submit the attendance question so I know that you are here today and that you are participating in class. And then I want you to scroll down after you have submitted the attendance question, and I want you to click on your new starters for this week. So today is September 15th, so you're going to click on your starters for week 915 through 920. I'm going to do the starters with you today in the recorded video. We're going to skip the student spotlight today. So sorry, Cody and Griffin, but I promise you we will cover your student spotlight on Friday. Thanks for being so patient. So let's go to our starters for today. Today's date is September 15th. So please open that up in either Kami Chrome extension or you're in the Google Classroom app and you're editing right now with your stylus. So number one says a classmate says that the additive inverse of any number is negative. Is he correct? Explain and give an example to justify your answer. So in this module, we want to start talking about positive and negative numbers. So an additive inverse is a number that when added to its opposite produces 0. So let's give some examples. So for example, 1 plus its opposite, which is -1, is going to be given a 0 as our answer. So the number 1 has an additive inverse. 1's additive inverse is -1. But if I give you another example, like 0 plus its doesn't have an opposite is equal to 0, then not every single number has an additive inverse. So I think that this classmate is wrong, and we could say incorrect because of 0. I'm just going to write 0 instead of spelling out the word 0. So does every number have an additive inverse? No. We can say 0 does not have an additive inverse. All right, let's look at number 3. It says a scuba diver descended 75 feet below the surface of the water to explore a sunken ship, then ascended 75 feet back up to the surface of the water. So we have one that ascended and one that descended. Descended means goes down, ascended means it goes up. Would the distance on the way down to the sunken ship be thought of as a positive or a negative number? So because we're going down, we think of this as a negative number. So this would be -75. What about the distance when he ascends back up to the water surface? This would be considered a positive 75. All right, so the starters for today are just really quick for you to be thinking about positive and negative numbers that we're going to start talking about in module 2 in more depth. But right now, what I want you to do is go back into your Google Classroom. I do want you to click save. You do not need to turn this in because we turn it in at the end of our weekly long starters. So just click save and exit out of the starters. Go back to Google Classroom and scroll down until you find lesson 1.3a. This lesson we are going to complete together via the recorded video. So open up your lesson 1.3a. You can either be in the Kami Chrome extension or the Google Classroom app. So let's begin. A markup is the amount added to the cost of a price in order to make profit. So let's go ahead and take our stylus and write on our notes. So markup is the amount stylus might be a little bit sloppy. The amount added to the cost of a price. Discount is the amount subtracted from the original cost. All right, now that we know those two definitions of markup and discount, we're going to be solving problems involving markup and discount. So we're going to use a model to solve each of the following multi-step problems, then write a number sentence that reflects your model and answer. So I've given you multiple options to solve percent problems, but let's start with the model just for the first one, just as a reminder of what our model looks like. So number one says, what is 60% of 80? So we start with 60%, and 60% is 60 over 100, which is equal to 3/5 as a fraction in simplest form. So when I solve this by drawing a model, I create my box, and my box represents 80, and I'm going to draw 4 lines, and 3 out of these 5 parts represent 60%. So let me get a different color to represent that, if it will allow me to shade in 3/5 of this bar model. Perfect. I'm going to go back to using the regular ink color. All right. So now I have 60% represents the first 3 boxes. This is 60%. Now 80 divided into 5 equal parts. So let me write down what I'm doing. 80 divided into 5 equal parts is 16, which means I put 16 in each one of these boxes. So if I'm solving this using a model, then I would need to just look at those 3 parts that are 16. So 16 times 3 equal parts would be 48. Oops. Hold on. My stylus is a little bit slow, so this is equal to 48. So my answer would be 48 is 60% of 80. I can write that over here off to the side. So 48 is 60% of 80. That's solving it using a model. If I was solving it using a number sentence, then I would set up a proportion. So we've done an is over of proportion in class to solve percent problems. So for this problem, I would do is an unknown because we don't know what part this is. Of is 80, that's the whole of the problem. The percent we know is 60, and then I'd put 60 over 100. So then I'd cross multiply. You can simplify before you cross multiply, or you can just straight cross multiply right now. So I cross multiply my diagonals, and I'm going to get 100x equals, I'm going to multiply 80 times 60. And then I'm going to write 100x equals 4,800. And then when I divide by 100, I get the same answer that I did above. I got 48. So from here on out, I'm just going to show you how to solve these problems using our percent proportion is over of equals percent over 100. So I'm not going to show the model anymore. I'm just going to show the number sentence. If you prefer a model, that's fine, go ahead, but I'm going to show it with the is over of proportion. So it says 72 is 60% of what number? Underline 72 is. So I'm going to put the 72 in the is spot. I don't know what number is the whole, but I do know that this is supposed to be 60%, so 60 goes over 100. Okay, so now I can cross multiply my diagonals. Oh, I almost just erased it all, sorry. Let's try that one more time. So cross multiply my diagonals, and I'm gonna get 60x equals 7,200. Then I divide both sides by 60, and I get x is equal to 120. So that would be my final answer. Now it says solve by using a number sentence. Well, I just solved it by using a number sentence. Another way that you could solve this, though, I do want to give you another option for a number sentence. Another way that you can do this is by multiplying the whole times the percent of increase or decrease. I don't know which one it's going to be depending on each problem. And you can set that equal to the part that you're looking for. So in this case, we don't know the whole. So that was our variable x. We knew that the percent of this problem that we were looking for was 60%. So I'm going to put 0.6. And then we knew that the part was 72. So if I divide this equation by 0.60, I will also get the same answer. X is equal to 120. All right, so we are going to go to the next page. If you are in the Google Classroom app, you're just going to click the right arrow. If you're not in the Google Classroom app, then you are just going to scroll down just like me. So let's go to the next page, and it says that complete the statement to find a percent given a part and a whole. I would need to, okay, so to find a percent given a whole, I would need to change a fraction to a decimal or multiply the decimal by 100. So I'm going to write here that I would need to, I'm going to actually just write that I'm going to use the percent proportion. So it's easier if we just use percent over 100 equals is over of. If you're given a percent, what would you need to do? I would just use this percent proportion. I just plug it into this formula. To find the whole, so, and I think, hold on, I think what they're asking, I'm going to erase this and start over again. Just edit this out in a minute. So, starting over again, to complete this statement, we have to find a percent given a part of the whole. I would need to use the percent proportion. So if we're looking to find a percent, then I would write x as my percent over 100 equals is over of. Complete the statement. To find the whole given part and a percent, I would need to write the percent over 100 equals is, sorry, my stylus isn't working, is over x, because I don't know the whole. Given this statement, to find a part given a whole and a percent, I would need to use my formula, percent over 100 equals x over of. So x is the unknown for each one of these percent proportions. So let's keep using this percent proportion. A refrigerator costs $1,200. If the markup of the refrigerator is 20%, what is the new price? Well, first let me solve using a model since this is the first time we've done this. I accidentally wrote down here, sorry about that. So using a model, I'm starting with 1,200. And this would represent 100% of a bar model. 1,200 is my 100% of my bar model. If I mark something up, that means I'm increasing it by 20%. So it's kind of like I'm adding 20% and increasing this bar model by 20%. So a 20% markup means that I am increasing it by one more part. So the original bar model is going to have 4 parts because each part is 20%. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. I'm increasing it by one more part. That's 6 now parts because it's 120%. So originally, to get 1200, I would put 240 in each one of these boxes. So 240 in each one of these boxes because 240 times 5 is 1200. So how did I figure this out? I just did 1200 divided by 5, and that's how I got 240 to go in each one of these boxes. So if I added one more, then I'd be adding an additional 240. So this is the new one that I'm adding. I'm going to shade it in. I'm adding this 20%. It's a new amount. So if I add 240 to 1200, oops, hold on just a second. If I'm adding 240, then my new amount will be 1,440. That would be the new price. Okay, for part B, it says solve by writing and using a number sentence. So we were doing this percent proportion before. So because it's an increase, my percent would not be 20% anymore. My percent would be 120% over 100 because it's a markup is equal to, now the part of this problem we don't know, but we know that the whole is 1200. So the whole refrigerator cost us $1,200. Now what we're going to do is multiply 1200 by 120. So we're going to cross multiply. So we have, oops, sorry. We have 100x equals, when I multiplied 120 by 1200, I got 144,000 on my calculator, and then I divided by 100, and I will get the same answer, 1,440. So another way to solve this problem, you get the same answer. Rico's resting heart rate is 50 beats per minute. His target rate is 150% of his resting rate. What is his target rate? So you can solve using a model, or you can just solve using a number sentence. So I'll just show a model just because they give us some space to do it. So if it's 50 beats per minute, I have a bar model that starts with 50. And I'm going to increase it by 150% more. So if I divided 50 into two parts, 50% and 50%, that would be 25 plus 25. So this represents 100%. And if I wanted to represent 50% more to get to 150%, because that's what I'm trying to get to, then I would add in one more of these little 25s. So I would get a grand total, if I added these all together, of 75. So the answer would be 75 beats per minute. Now we're going to try solving the same problem using a number sentence. So the way I would solve it using a number sentence is I would do 150 over 100 equals x over 50. Okay, now I would cross multiply. I would multiply 150 times 50. So I'd cross multiply my diagonals, get 100x equals 7,500. Then I would divide by 100. Oh, I'm sorry, my stylist did not like that. Let me try that one more time. Divide by 100. And I get the same answer that I got before. I get 75. So it's great that we can try multiple methods and get the same answer. All right, if you're in Google Classroom app, go to the right arrow. We have one more page to go. For number 5, it says a pair of boots was originally priced at $200. The store put them on sale for 25% off, and a month later they were reduced 50% off of the previous sale price. What is the price now? So we're going to start with solving it using a model. So I start with $200. And if I have a 25% sale, then I'm going to divide my bar model into 3 lines or 4 parts, and if I take 25% off of this bar model, then I'm going to shade in just one of these sections. Now 200 divided by 4 equal parts means that I'm going to put 50 in each one of these parts. So I'm taking away $50. So if you want to write that down, you're taking away $50 from 200, which now puts us at $150. So now, a month later, you come back to the store and you say, okay, I bought these boots for $150, but there's an additional 50% off of the $150 sale price. So I want another 50% off today, which means that I need to take $75 off of the $150. So I'm going to have my final price be $75, which is a great deal. Now we're going to solve this using a number sentence. So we're going to do an is over of proportion, but the thing is that we'd have to do this proportion 2 times because it's 2 completely separate problems. So the first time you do a proportion, it would have to be a 25% discount. The second time you do it, it has to be a 50% discount. If you want to combine them, you can. One way that we could do this is multiplying 200 and take away 25% of 200. That's the easiest way to do this. So start with that first transaction. So that would be 200 minus, it's a bad zero, hold on a second. That would be 200 minus, still not a good one, 200 minus $50 was 150. And then we have to do it again. So the next time we did 150 and we took away 50% of 150. And that would be 150 minus $75, and that's how we got $75. Okay, so that would be, I'd have to write 2 number sentences if I was doing a problem like this. Normally we would just do a percent proportion, but this time it's too hard because you'd have to do 2 separate ones. So it's easier if you do it as a number sentence. So it says number 6, it used to take Naya 10 minutes to walk to school, and now it takes her 8 minutes. What is her percent of decrease? So we can solve it using a model by looking at, wow, I think there's a lot of space for this. We have, basically, we started with 10 minutes, and now it takes her 8 minutes to get to school. So we're going to start with 10 minutes. Oops, 10, there we go. And I'm going to divide this up into equal parts of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So the reason why I did that is because I'm trying to look for a percent, and this is my favorite percent bar model because each one of these is in 20% parts. And if I took away one of these parts, like if I crossed off one of these parts, then I would have 8 left in my bar model. So it looks to me, just by looking at the bar model, that Naya, sorry, had a 20% decrease. I'm going to just draw the down arrow for decrease. So it's a 20% decrease if you go from 10 to 8. All right, it looks like that is the last problem on our lesson. So what I'd like you to do is click the save button, and I would like you to turn in if you're in the Google Classroom app. If you're in Kami Chrome extension, I'd like you to save and download to your Google Drive and then attach it from your Google Drive when you turn it in as an assignment in Google Classroom. So going back to the class slides, again, this will be available for you in our class slides. You can take a quick break, and then after the break, it looks like I want you to work on homework 1.3a. So if you go to homework 1.3a in your Google Classroom, underneath the module 1 topic, you'll see that in the instructions of the assignment, there is a key that will help you complete the homework today. So if there's something that you don't understand or you need a reference to, please use the key as a guide to help you. You do not have to complete the spiral review. That spiral review is always optional. So I'd like you to complete problems 1 through 5 right now in class before you leave today. Save and submit to Google Classroom. So that's found in your classwork stream of Google Classroom. And then when you're done with that, you are done with my assignments for this class. So just as a reminder, what's due today by 3:30 is our lesson and homework from Monday, 1.2D. Your Module 1 quiz correction form, that's 2 points extra credit if you get a parent signature and you complete all your corrections. So make sure that's turned in today before 3:30. And then by Friday at 3:30, you need to have turned in your lesson and your homework 1.3A. So just a heads up, next Wednesday, September 22nd, you have a Module 1 test. So right now, you're going to be working on homework 1.3A during your wave time for the rest of the period. I will hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on Friday. Thank you, Math A students. Bye.